This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
iHeart presents the Big Three Playoffs. This Sunday, the remaining 4 teams battle to make the championship in the most physical, fierce, and competitive basketball league in the world. The action starts with the Big Three Monster Energy Celebrity Game. Then Dwight Howard and his LA Riot take on Montrezl Harrell and Dr. J Chicago Triplets. The finale will see popular Miami 305 with stars MVP Michael Beasley and Lance Stevenson take on Nancy Lieberman's Dallas Power. Who will make it to the Big Three Championship? The no-holds-barred action starts Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific, only on CBS.
Join us out at the Minnesota State Fair through Labor Day for your favorite fan shows, chances to win great prizes, and to stock up on our new KFAN swag. Come find us in Carousel Park at the KFAN booth, powered by Culligan. Stop by the Culligan Hydration Station at the Minnesota State Fair on the corner of Dan Patch and Cosgrove. Fill your bottle for free with cold Culligan water. Culligan, water you love.
Hey, Culligan man. I'm Comedy's Tenebee. You know, there's a phrase called the voice of reason. We just call this the voice of Rosen. The legendary one joins us now.
Good to see you.
The voice of Rosen.
You definitely want to call him the voice of reason.
Well, no, that's for sure.
Wait a minute. That was a slight?
Are you looking for a source divorce?
What do you mean?
Well, your twin source told you a sale was imminent.
Well,
and you
no, it
he
is.
said he said the sale was
Why
imminent.
are you still beating a dead horse on this thing?
Well, that's
We
a
talked
horse
about this
divorce. The horse divorce is Zimmer and Rosen.
I see.
Or Zimmer and PA. They had a horse divorce.
They did have a horse divorce.
This is a source divorce. Are you distancing yourself from your twin? So he or she told you a sale was imminent, and then shortly thereafter,
they did sell part of the team.
Well, yeah.
They sold part of the team. I think everyone was taken by surprise, including this person. I mean, everything was pointing towards having it done, but when and how and where we'll get the real dope and what happened behind the scenes, if indeed Joe Pohlad wanted to keep the team and the rest of the family didn't, or vice versa. I don't know.
Well, if you remember, Joe said this was after the initial announcement. It was a couple of weeks or a month or two. He made sure to let people know, if we sell the team, I'd still like to run it.
I know that.
Which the example I use would be like if I told Tenebee, would you like to buy my house? And he says, yeah. And I go, but I'm still going to live in it.
Yeah.
I always love that one.
Well,
that's not going to work.
That's not a bad analogy. Yeah, it isn't going to work. It was an unusual. It's different than even Glenn Taylor selling the Timberwolves to A-Rod and Laurie, and yet Taylor had minority ownership. I mean, he had a piece of it. I still think he's going to get some bennies from being involved with this franchise for all the years. But yeah, this is unusual, but nothing has really been normal about the entire time the Pohlads have owned the family from the time they bought it from Calvin Griffith back in 1984. But yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, the debt maybe had something to do with it. Who knows? It's sent, and we talked about it last week. I mean, the fact they don't really have, there's no PR element to the Pohlad family. There never has been. There's never been a moment where I felt, even going back to Jim, I remember running into Jim socially after, I think the Twins won a division title or something, and it was pretty exciting, and it may as well have been talking to him about how to butter an English muffin or something. He had there was no level of, man, that was a good moment.
Right. Yeah.
There's no, I mean, you're around, if you're around any of the ownership, basically, I mean, Mark Wilf, or you can see the excitement, the faces, Sir Mark Wilf. We know that Craig Leopold lives and dies with his hockey team and the struggles that they've had for the most part.
Wilfs are all in.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a different focus. And I think that's part of the whole Pohlad, mindset. I mean, Carl was a banker, and I remember him being legitimately excited. Obviously, how can you not be? Not just you remember in Detroit where I saved his life when he was about falling down the steps at Tiger Stadium.
You saved his life?
Well, I pretty much did, because
I didn't know that.
Well, I don't know if I saved his life, but I saved him. I'm having a pretty bad accident because the Twins had just won that series in Detroit in 1987. and we were allowed like right by the field, so we could rush on the field and get the immediate reaction. And Carl was down there, and the steps at Old Tiger Stadium
began to crumble.
They were very steep, like in the visitors' dugout. It wasn't if you look at Target Field now, there wasn't anywhere like that. This is an old stadium. Carl took a few steps up, and he went, oh, he kind of going backwards, and I kind of grabbed his sport coat. Yeah, I did. And
he saved Carl Pohlad's life.
Didn't even get a reward for it. But anyway, the point is, he was, I'd say for Carl Pohlad, he was pretty giddy at obviously, and winning the World Series.
Well, Eloise loved the winning.
Oh, she loved that baseball team. I mean, that's a really good point. It was Eloise's team. I mean, Carl bought it, but it was Eloise was the baseball fan, and of course Carl took great joy in '87 and '91. He built that team was together for a long time. They lost 100 games in 1982. But, they didn't have to go out and sign a bunch of free agents. It was basically the nucleus that lost 100 games, adding a guy named Kirby Puckett a little later, getting a Tom Bernansky. I mean, otherwise, there were all kind of system guys, all from the Twins team. Gary Gaetti, I think, is celebrating his birthday today. And the Rat was a big part of it. But he was on that team that, he had that famous line, pretty hard to win the game when you got both hands.
Yeah.
Throw the ball, you got both hands around your throat.
The Rat.
He was one of my favorites. But anyway, that was it. They stuck together, and you didn't have to go out and sign the Ichiros or the Aaron. You didn't have to do that because they would have done it, but they didn't have to. Anyway, the point of the matter is, I don't know I don't think they've ever been necessarily baseball fans,
right? Well, you don't.
Joe's may have been a little different. I think Joe really. I don't even know him very well, but I he's obviously younger, and I think he had a little bit of that in him. Has had a little bit of that in him as far as being a fan, but they don't know how to communicate with their fans. They can't. You can't write them an email or put out a statement like that. Someone needs to front that and actually sit down and do an interview or talk about it, and you can't just hide in the weeds.
Let me ask you a question. You don't have a crystal ball, but what do you think is going to happen? But like during the off season here and then to start the next season, I mean, I think most of us felt, I think almost everyone thought they would find a buyer for the team. The commissioner said it was imminent. Sources said it was. They had legitimate people. Then I thought what we would see was, okay, they take over and then maybe Falvey stays, maybe doesn't, maybe Baldelli stays, maybe doesn't. You don't know what their new ownership might want to just, clear the decks. Now, I got to think both, and for good or ill, however you feel about Falvey and Baldelli, they're probably both going to stay, I would think. I would think it's going to be business as usual. Do they trade Lopez if they get an opportunity to? I mean, will that continue once the season's over? Will they continue to strip it down and get younger? Will they keep
I don't know what younger they can get.
Core players?
You're asking a lot of legitimate questions that it really aren't any answers to, other than the fact that, I mean, they'd already given Baldelli kind of their, like, wink, wink, nod, nod, you're coming back next year. And, if you look at it, I think, I don't know if it was Gleeman or the Geek or which one had the Twins, since they had the disastrous late last year, they've had the third worst record in baseball since that late August swoon to where we are this August, the third worst in baseball. So, I don't care how many times I see one more, and you talk about this all the time. We know the Twins have some really good prospects. That's a given. They have the second best on paper, the second best farm system in baseball, led by my guy, Walker Jenkins.
You've been watching him for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he's my Alex Tuck, except he's better. And they have some really good young players. It doesn't matter. Let's just say 3 or 4 of them turn out to be really good major league ball players. We thought Trevor Larnach and Matt Wallner were going to be really good ball players. We thought Royce Lewis, the number 1 overall pick, was going to be a surefire star.
Lavelle thought so highly of him when I asked him the hypothetical question, if I could guarantee you the Twins would win one World Series, would you trade Royce Lewis? He said no. Absolutely not.
I know.
Because he thought Royce Lewis would give the Twins the opportunity to contend for several World Series titles.
And maybe that switch will come on at some point and he'll be healthy and he'll be productive and he'll end up being that guy. And there are stories, many a story that, Guys are, at that point of Royce Lewis's career where they just blossom all of a sudden, and that would be the Twins' way of, moving on from him, and then he'll ends up being an MVP candidate. I don't know. I think that I'd like to think they're going to be able to come up with a buyer. I mean, beyond the limited buyers that they have right now. But Joe Pohlad wants to keep the team and run the team. I don't see, a big change in what their philosophy is. What are they going to do? I mean, yeah, it would be nice if Pablo comes back. They can extend Joe Ryan's contract. Obviously they have to fortify the bullpen. You can't compete in this day and age without a bullpen. They traded all those guys away, and they really don't have anyone in there. And it's just, unless they get a really good starting performance like Ryan. Ryan's pitching tonight, but he last time out, I think he threw 100 pitches, and that was unusual. But Baldelli has to say to himself, I got to go a little longer with him because I can't turn it over with a 4-1 lead with the bullpen. We'll lose the game. So, a lot of big questions to be answered, and it's just and dealing with fan apathy and where they are in television. I mean, there's so much stuff that Major League Baseball has to figure out. I mean, not to have a real good television contract, it really hurt them. So there's a lot more questions than answers.
Says Rosen's good deed, saving Carl Pohlad's life, paid off in spades. Call it karma. But Mark's life was saved by the Minnesota Vikings medical staff after what could have been a deadly bee sting. And he's been saved by a surgeon scheduling a hip surgery so Rosen didn't have to show up at the Great Minnesota get-together. Well, it's good to be Mark Rosen.
I pushed my speaking of that, I was supposed to get cataract surgery in September. Oh, no. He just called me. He's going to be on vacation. He's got to do it starting next Tuesday.
Yeah. What a bad break for all of us.
What a tough break.
We'll pause and come back. Plenty to get to with the legendary Mark Rosen. 10 to be in the Common Man here on The Fan.
The reviews and ratings are in, and Ice Cube's Big 3 is the surprise hit of the summer. And to cap off the season, iHeart presents the Big 3 Basketball Playoffs. This Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, the remaining 4 teams battle it out for the right to make the Big 3 championship in the most physical, fierce, and competitive basketball league in the world. The action starts with the Big 3 Monster Energy Celebrity Game, where your favorite stars compete in Big 3 3-on-3 basketball. Then the first of 2 semifinal games features Dwight Howard and the LA Riot taking on Montrezl Harrell and Dr. J's first-place Chicago Triplets. The finale will see popular Miami 305 with stars MVP Michael Beasley, and last will Make You Dance Stevenson take on Nancy Lieberman's Dallas Power, who finished the season winning 5 straight weeks to capture second place. Can Glenn Rice, Greg Monroe, and Paul Millsap stop Miami's physical assault, or will Miami and Beasley put an end to Dallas's winning ways? Who will make it to the Big 3 championship? This no-holds-barred action starts Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific, only on CBS.
Summer's about to get loud. Coheed and Cambria and Taking Back Sunday are hitting the Armory on August 20th with special guest Foxing. Tickets are on sale now, and they're going fast. Don't miss your chance to be part of this epic night. Grab your tickets and all the details at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Quote, with the good guys now, she left that punk-ass team, and she's with the good guys now, straight up. Believe it. Them there's fighting words between the Lynx and the Liberty.
Where you were going with that.
Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I heard you guys a little bit earlier, and it is, I think, healthy for the sport. It's good to have a real rivalry. We've had them in other sports, and the trash talking in a basketball between basketball teams. And it's been the Lynx have been waiting since the end of last year, obviously, to try to get back, and that's not going to happen until the finals. But in the meantime, they've had a series of games against the Liberty after not facing them at all for the majority of the season. Now they got a flurry of them, and the Lynx have had the better of it, even without Nafisa Collier, the soon-to-be MVP of the league. It shows you what a well-balanced team they have. And yeah, I think it's with all the other stuff going on, and the Caitlin Clark's been missing in action because of a groin injury or something, and they've had other little dust-ups between a couple different teams. But I think the Lynx-Liberty actual rivalry is turning out to be something that other people around the league, other fans are starting to notice. And I'm not saying they're on a collision course, but it certainly appears that they are for the finals again. And they play tonight in New York, right? That's the next one.
Do you think the Liberty are a punk-ass team?
I'm not going to call them that. I think if you're on the court and you're playing against them, you have every right to call them that. And, that's I think it's kind of, I'm enjoying it. It's kind of fun. It really is. And that's great. As long as they don't get carried away and start throwing elbows and getting tossed out of games. And it's kind of an old-fashioned rivalry. You don't hear much of that even in the NBA. I don't know if I can't imagine SGA was calling out, the Indiana Pacers and using that term. And I don't think he called them a punk-ass team, but I may have mistaken. Chet Holmgren.
That was me. You hear about the heartbreaking stories of a family that keeps a dying person on life support out of their own selfishness, even though the person's quality of life will be none. That's what Rosen did to the Twins all those years ago by saving Carl's life.
I had
he kept the Twins on life support.
Carl was an interesting man. I don't think many people. He didn't give a lot of people a chance to know him. He was kind of a rags to very rich story, and how he started out, and he was a boxer, and he had me. I think I may have mentioned this to you. I'm sorry if I'm boring you again, but the reason it stood out because I got an invitation to have lunch with him at his office, and he's kind of a recluse. He was kind of a recluse, and he had his secretary up. I can't remember whatever the bank he was at, and went up at his office, and she brought in some sandwiches and a soda. And he started talking
Pepsi,
about,
I'm sure.
Well, definitely, I'm sure it was Pepsi. Definitely talking about his Golden Glove days.
Did you say, do you have a Coca-Cola for that?
I'm a Pepsi guy anyway.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I kind of am. It doesn't really matter to me. I like the Mexican Coke. Those are my favorites. Anyway, he was talking about boxing, and he talked about his Golden Glove career. And then he talked about going to see, he had taken his wife to be, maybe they were just married. And I think it was in Chicago at outside, maybe at like a Soldier Field or Wrigley Field. I can't remember. It was outside watching, I think, Marciano against someone, right? And he said, I bent over to tie my shoe, and I stood up, and the guy Marciano was fighting was flat on his back already. I missed the knockout. I don't know. He had a side to him telling stories that had nothing to do with baseball, nothing to do with banking, nothing to do with whatever, it just was, he said to me, it was kind of, he said, I don't have many people come up here and see me. And it was kind of, it's like, I don't know how many really good friends he had. When you get to be that kind of, I'm using the word ruthless, but, it was kind of a real statement, I thought. And I appreciated the invitation, but, it was interesting for him to have that revelation that I don't have many people come up here to see me. So I think he made a lot of distant friends or even enemies that he had in the business world. I'm sure of that.
Tenneby, we need a sound effect when we want to go to like AI or Grok AI or whatever, because we have all the different sound effects. This one says, I asked Carl Pohlad's Golden Gloves record. AI Overview says Carl Pohlad, known primarily as the former owner of the Minnesota Twins, did box in clubs along the West Coast while attending Gonzaga University. Do you say Gonzaga or Gonzaga? You a Gonzaga or Gonzaga guy?
Gonzaga.
Yeah, I'm a Gonzaga guy. While attending Gonzaga University. However, there is no information available in the provided search results to indicate that Carl Pohlad competed in or won the Golden Gloves tournament.
Well, I don't know. I'm just telling you what he told me.
So Carl was embellishing his boxing career.
He was a boxer.
He boxed.
Yeah.
He did. He fought some clubs.
So maybe that's what he was referring to.
Maybe
he was. I don't know. I mean, I thought he.
My guess is you were just listening. You weren't listening. You were just waiting for my turn to talk.
Maybe Rosie was embellishing it.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe you're embellishing his career.
Well, he boxed. I mean, that was the thing. So that's all that mattered. And he did, he regaled that tale of watching the big fight, the championship fight, and he was with Eloise. And like I said, he looked up and that was it.
This one says Rocky Marciano never fought outdoors in Chicago.
I don't. Okay.
He just looked, somebody looked it up. Marciano never fought outdoors.
It may have been Joe Louis. I don't know. Marciano, Louis, it was a great fighter.
It could have been Marciano, Graziano.
Joe Louis, for all I know. I don't. This lunch was a long time ago. Carl's been gone for a long time, and my mind's been gone for a long time.
Well, we know that.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Why are you chirping?
Is it confirmed? Marciano's never fought outside?
No.
Oh, me.
Rosen's mind is gone.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And now
a lot
this
of
one
radio.
says Rosen hates America. He only drinks Mexican Coke. Sad,
I don't.
really.
I'm a Pepsi guy. I think that's a U.S. bottling company.
Yeah.
I'd say I would. I know most people probably take Coca-Cola over Pepsi, but I do like the Mexican Cokes.
You do.
Yeah, I know they have different flavor to them. I don't drink much soda at all anymore.
They have cane sugar, not refined sugar.
I don't. I have once a month maybe. I have a soda.
You and Donald Trump both like the Mexican Coke. He's the one that wanted.
Does he like it?
He called Mexico, or the Coca-Cola company, demanded that they sell it in the United States.
That's good stuff.
And you know what?
They do.
His wish is their command.
Yeah. Well, they've had it for longer than he's been president.
Yeah, but I mean, they haven't. It's been in Mexico, not the United States. It will now be sold in the United
Stores,
States,
etc. Okay,
because that's all he has to say.
Well,
whatever.
Good to know.
Yeah, you ask. And,
duly noted. I do like it.
Here's one that says, Major League Baseball is a tougher business than the other leagues, and we fans don't really know how much money a team makes or has to spend. Right. Well, I know what they have to spend, $3.8 billion. It's not that hard to figure out. They're worth $3.8 billion, so they have $3.8 billion at their disposal. They just do. Now, how much the team makes, I don't know. I do know that several years ago, and I would think this number's gone up, but do you remember when it was reported that at the beginning of the year, the national television contract, each team received a check for $100 million. So 100? 100. So the Twins got a check for $100 million. If your payroll's $130 million, now I know there's other expenses. Obviously, you got to pay suds and duds to wash the uniforms, right? You have office personnel. You've got rent. You've got you've got minor league systems to run. But they get a check for $100 million. So if you take that and put it towards your payroll, you only have to come up with $30 million for the season. That's just a fact, right? You're doing the math. Now, there are other expenses, like I say.
How'd they get $400 million in debt?
They did that because they were using that money to, I don't understand financial stuff. But from what I understand, it was like they used it.
Well, I'm going to be.
Use this like if they needed money for other businesses, they would say, "Well, we here, here we got this team here."
Yeah, we can borrow from.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be at the game tomorrow night with a lot of the legalese people, so maybe I'll do a little digging tomorrow night.
Will you do some digging?
And maybe
someone suggested you bring Joe Pohlad onto your podcast and ask him point blank some of those questions about.
I have Dave St. Peter on my podcast next Monday.
Ooh.
So there you go. I will. I'm anxious to.
Will you ask the tough questions?
I'll ask the questions.
All right.
Yeah.
We look forward to it. We'll take a break, come back, one more segment to go with Rosie, Common, and Tennessee here in the Fan.
And Ice Cube's Big 3 is the surprise hit of the summer. And to cap off the season, iHeart presents the Big 3 Basketball Playoffs. This Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, the remaining 4 teams battle it out for the right to make the Big 3 championship in the most physical, fierce, and competitive basketball league in the world. The action starts with the Big 3 Monster Energy Celebrity Game, where your favorite stars compete in Big 3 3-on-3 basketball. Then the first of 2 semifinal games features Dwight Howard and the LA Riot taking on Montrezl Harrell and Dr. J's first-place Chicago Triplets. The finale will see popular Miami 305 with stars MVP Michael Beasley, and last will Make You Dance Stevenson take on Nancy Lieberman's Dallas Power, who finished the season winning 5 straight weeks to capture second place. Can Glenn Rice, Greg Monroe, and Paul Millsap stop Miami's physical assault, or will Miami and Beasley put an end to Dallas's winning ways? Who will make it to the Big 3 championship? This no-holds-barred action starts Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific, only on CBS.
Couple 13-14 pass, Common Man program, Common, Tennessee, and Mark Rosen. You're getting ripped. Probably doesn't come as a surprise to you. This text message, courtesy of the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, says, so, Carl barely boxed. Marciano never fought outdoors in Chicago. No wonder these supposed sources confide in Rosen. He'll believe anything they tell him.
This is coming from a guy who probably doesn't remember where he parked his car yesterday or what he had for dinner last night. This lunch I had with Carl was probably 25 years ago. That's pretty funny.
Wow. Now Rio Grande Rosen needs a Mexican Coke to go along with his fresh-caught swordfish and a spa day and courtside seats with A-Rod.
Okay, Mexican Coke is like having Dom Perignon, right? Is that what you're suggesting?
I don't know what he's suggesting.
I don't know what he's seeing. Someone just told me, by the way, that Chipotle's had Mexican Coke for a long time.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. Our guy Tom, who writes me all the time, long before Trump was elected the first time.
Rio Grande Rosen.
Rio Grande Rosen. Have you ever tried it? I'm asking you.
I'm not.
I mean, I'm not saying it's knocks your socks off, but it's just a different taste. I don't drink very much soda anymore, so or pop as we like to call it here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
But anyway, to each their own.
That's another question I wanted to ask you. Okay, well, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
And then we'll talk more about it because the Gophers open their season next week already?
Yes, they do. College football is on the horizon. I mean, the big one is Ohio State and Texas. First game out of the blocks. And defending national champ against, a team, that's right up there, the best in the country. So there's some really good matchups the first weekend. And it's kind of crazy when you talk about, teams are hardly hitting their stride. And it's a little imposing, but it's all for television. And if you lose that game, it's not like you can't make the playoff. And they used to be like, I'm never going to get back in it because I'm never going to have an opportunity. I lose that one game, I'm never going to get enough votes to get the national championship type game. Of course, now they have the playoffs, so it's not going to kill you if you lose that game at all for either one of those teams. But it just puts you behind the eight ball a little bit. But yeah, the Gophers open up. It's next Friday. They usually open up during the fair.
Yeah, they do. That's why I asked. I think it's
so that's it's here. Yeah, before the Vikings get going. That's normally the case.
I mean, is there any reason to believe that this season will be any different than the previous?
Well, I don't know. I think back, and someone was just talking about, I think it was 2019 when the Gophers came within one win.
It's next Thursday, by the way.
Oh, it's Thursday night? Okay. Who do they play? Albany or
Buffalo.
something? Buffalo. I knew it was somewhere. Buffalo, Albany.
Erie Canal connects Albany.
Yeah,
I do know that.
The Gophers were one win away from going to the Big Ten championship game. I think they thought it was the Wisconsin game naturally. That was 2019. But I don't know. I mean, PJ Fleck's been talking a lot lately about, and he's right about the number of NFL players his program has been producing. And so they got a new quarterback. They got arguably a future NFL safety in Coy Parrish, who's already as a sophomore. Getting a lot of All-American, honors tossed his way, and going to play both offense and defense this year, the way it sounds. And he's some offense, and he does everything well. And he's going to be, as they say, worth the price of admission. But it's a different world because they got a tougher schedule in some respects, and they got the big 18, whatever it is now. But you have an opportunity to try to become the next Indiana Hoosier team at least. Indiana had a pretty easy schedule, I think, last year overall, easier than what the Gophers have this year. But my point is you have an opportunity, I think even easier, to try to get into that top six if you can. But I really don't know how to answer that because until we see them on the field, it's not like, the Vikings, you can kind of analyze them a little bit, even though they have a lot of new players, especially on defense. You don't know what J.J. McCarthy's going to bring. Obviously, a ton of question marks about that. But when you have a college football program, man, it takes you 3-4 games to even kind of get to know these guys, and that's a year-by-year thing.
Your guy Brosmer, he's been pretty efficient. I mean, again, he was playing a lot of backups and second stringers and guys fighting for roster spots. And New England, I think, started the game with starters, but then they were using their role players as well, or their depth players. But he's played pretty well. There are those that believe he might end up being the backup quarterback to J.J. McCarthy.
To throw cold water on that, and it's a rhetorical question, and it's going to play itself out a little bit. I think Rosemer may play a lot. I would assume he'd play a lot on Friday night. That'd be the one real reason to watch it. Would any head coach, in particular the quarterback whisperer, go into the season with two guys who've never taken an NFL snap. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy is the starter, but do you want your backup? Even if it's, even if J.J. had to go out for, a series or two, a crucial series or two, got dinged up or something a little bit. Can you trust Max Brosmer to go in there as the backup right now, this early in, as a undrafted free agent to have an opportunity? I think the Vikings paid him. I think Randball was talking about today, $250,000 to sign, and he's definitely turned some heads out there. And I don't think KOC's blowing smoke when he talks about what he's bringing to the table. But it's still, man, that's a quantum jump from playing in the Big Ten, just a year ago, and undrafted. And even it's funny because I think in some of the Gopher pundits, some of the people saying the difference between J.J. McCarthy and Max Brosmer is if J.J. McCarthy had been the quarterback for the Gophers and Brosmer had been the quarterback from Michigan, would we be talking about these two in reverse? In other words, Brosmer would have been a high pick.
Yeah, right.
Because he's on a great football team like Michigan. Well, you can't answer that question other than the fact that pretty much every scout said the same thing, that McCarthy was the real deal. And but yeah, it's a great story. The kids. He surprised me. I don't think the Vikings are going to part ways with him. I don't know if he's going to be the number 2 quarterback, but a lot of it's going to be either we trust Sam Howell can be the backup and go in there with the first teamers, even though he looked terrible last week, and get the job done if need be. The Rippon character seems to be caught in no man's land. I don't really have a feel for him either way. He hasn't done anything to kind of light it up and go, oof, man, even though he's got the arm strength, he's got this. Or Brosmer has been, for the most part, made some really good decisions out there. So, and I think that's what KLC's impressed with. Friday could go a long ways towards making this case. But it's an interesting storyline with everything else going on. Who the backup is, or will they go outside? I don't think at this point they will. I don't think that Russell Wilson's going to become available, and they want him to back him up.
I'm about to say something controversial.
All right.
That's interesting.
It's actually a controversial question. Do you think there's a chance that who do we play Week 9 in the National Football League?
I can tell you. I can look at my schedule.
Week 9.
Oh, we're at the Detroit Lions.
Do you think by Week 9 against the Detroit Lions, Max Brosmer will be the starting quarterback?
I hope not.
But it could be possible, right?
Well,
what if Brosmer is the guy?
That would be a devastating injury to J.J. McCarthy.
Or just poor play by J.J. McCarthy. How do you know?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying that I don't.
You like this McCarthy kid?
Well, I'm anxious to, like everybody else, I'm anxious to see him play with the first team. It's going to be in Chicago, and that 2 weeks from last night. It's going to be one of those, like I said, Christmas morning, open up the package and see what we got. Now he's going to have to do it. Will the Vikings? And I still think they will. I think they're waiting for cutdown day to add a wide receiver, and you don't have to get a big star. You're not going to, because Jordan Addison's coming back, we know, after 3 weeks. So, the idea of trading for an Adam Thielen type, or someone that, still has something left in the tank and kind of a big name, seems a little bit unrealistic, because as soon as Addison comes back, and especially based on the camp that he's having, he's going to be there with JJ. And then what? Then you got the rest of your guys. You don't need a big name to fill in the blanks, but you need someone, I think, to sign, to add to the depth that they have in that room right now, especially without knowing what Jalen Naylor's situation is with his hand injury. So I don't know, but no, I think they're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to have a lot of screen passes. T.J. Hawkinson's going to be probably wide receiver number 2. Aaron Jones might be number 3. They're going to have a lot of that, and I think they're going to try to keep JJ protected pretty well with that offensive line.
I have to tell you, I think I said this earlier today, I don't even know what an average fan is anymore, but if you're a Vikings fan, I think if you're a football fan, you like offense, you like downfield throws and such like that. And I'm all well and good with that also, but to me, it doesn't really matter. how you win a game as long as you win. Remember, I used to have this theory that Mike Zimmer hated the offensive side of the ball, and he would love to win 13-3 games.
Right.
He loved that because he's a defensive-minded coach. There's a story about the Jets in Associated Press today that says, so far, Justin Fields, they've not been throwing the ball very, very long. And some of the fans and media are a little anxious, like, what about getting the ball downfield a little bit? What, we might need to do that. Here's what Fields said. He says, of course you want explosives, but like I said Saturday, we're not going to force the ball down the field. If they want to get depth on the second level, we're fine with taking the 8-10-yard completion, taking time off the clock and just driving down the field and have 10 and 15 play drives. It gets the defense tired. And I think that's the kind of, it's a conservative offense when you do it that way. And it's not great fantasy football kind of numbers.
Right.
And it doesn't get the people excited about the oohs and the ahs along play. But I think that's the kind of offense Zimmer wanted. And because I like defense, I don't mind an offense like that, because to me the objective is to win. And he's right about the long drives. If you get the opening kickoff, take 10 or 15 plays and drive downfield 70 minutes, and then you 3 and out their offense right away, now their defense is back on the field and you go back to the same thing, just nickel and diming them to death. I don't mind that.
I think that's kind of the way they're going to approach it, especially the first 3 weeks with Addison out. And if this defense is as good as advertised, and what they're saying and what they're feeling and the depth of it and the additions they have, those guys in particular, Hargrave and Allen can stay healthy. They were not healthy last year. They didn't play a lot. That's going to be the biggest difference in the world for this defense. And then you throw in all the other guys they have. They should be able to keep a team like the Bears to 14 points or so. That's kind of who they are, unless there's a bad turnover in your own end and the Bears get the ball at the 15-yard line, 20-yard line. Sure, Caleb Williams, it looks like, with Ben Johnson, he's going to try to let her fly. And the other night wasn't exactly a prime example because Buffalo had their backups in there, but, Caleb looked good. He looked real good. I'm sure they're very confident right now.
You know what I like to call it? Ground and pound.
Yeah.
Just get it on the ground and just pound them. Ground and pound. I might start using that. Ground and pound.
They got the guys. I think I'm anxious to see what Mason's going to do. And I think as receivers, both they have the arsenal and J.J. McCarthy's ability to run and get out. And I think the screen pass is going to be a huge weapon for him. And I think Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason are going to be, if you're looking for fantasy points, those two guys are going to get a lot of balls in their hands with receptions. It's good.
You're getting ripped again.
For what?
Well, we're going back to when you went to the Dodgers game.
The Dodgers game?
Or didn't you go to a Dodgers game not long ago?
No. I mean, wait, here at the Target Field?
In Los Angeles, weren't you visiting your son?
No, I haven't gone to it. I haven't gone to a Dodgers game, I don't think, ever in Dodger Stadium.
Because it was saying, I was in L.A. last week and went to a Dodgers game. Funny how Rosen was complaining about $60 parking.
That was the football game last year.
Football game.
The Vikings.
I went to SoFi Stadium with my son last year.
Okay.
And
you were complaining about the $60 parking.
I was just acknowledging it. I was just talking about this is the world you live in.
This guy says if you're okay walking just a little bit further, general parking was $40. If you wanted to walk significantly further, you could get $20. And outside the entrance, you could even park for free.
Well, listen, once you get caught up in that labyrinth that is the stadium there, and you're just looking for a place to park, you grab what you can. And we still ended up walking around the entire stadium to get into our seats. Think about it. And I wasn't complaining. I was just acknowledging it. I see $50 parking for Viking games here near the stadium. I mean, that's not unusual. People, especially private lots, they can charge whatever the hell they want because you're a block and a half away from the stadium. There's nothing to regulate that.
There was a Tennessee and I talked about a story. Again, this was one of these ESPN or CBS Sports, whatever, saying, the 5 teams that are more than likely going to take a step back.
I saw that. Yeah,
and it would be. We'll all do the old. The next Friday before the regular season opens, we'll all do our wins and losses predictions. Sure. But it is hard for any team to go from Lions and Chiefs to go from 15-2 and stay at 15-2 or get better. Same with the Vikings at 14-3. It's I think realistically the Vikings with a new quarterback and with the schedule and the defense, I think 11-12 wins would be a really good. And
it would be.
And that should be good enough to get in the playoffs.
Oh, could win the division.
It could win the division. That's exactly right.
No, I think it's silly to talk about teams taking a step back. Well, yeah, the Vikings are not likely to go 14-3 this year.
Yeah.
Not just because J.J. McCarthy's starting, but I think their defense is going to be appreciably better. It's just really hard to do. I mean, there are a lot of really good teams in the NFL. There's some ones that aren't so good, but the Vikings aren't playing many of those. They don't have a last place schedule. So, I mean, it's going to be difficult for the Lions or the Packers or the Vikings in particular to any of those teams to get to 13, 14 wins. And that's the beauty of the NFL. I think I was watching a little bit of that game last night, and I think they had one stat. Tana, you probably know this stuff, that I think each of the last, I don't know how many years, they've had at least 4 new teams make the playoffs from the year before that didn't make them.
Yeah.
So now you start thinking to yourself, well, which of the teams that didn't make it last year are going to have the best chance of getting in the postseason? I think, Phil, you can take your own guess.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't matter because you never know. But the NFL's ruling the roost, and they'll be doing it again. It starts all starts again next Thursday.
This text message came in that says, with all these rolls and rips, it's only a matter of time before it becomes a D1 crash out.
I always
D1 crash out. That's brilliant. Explain it again. Tell me
what was that now?
You're a D1 crash out.
Basically, if you're someone, if you have like a meltdown of any kind.
Oh.
If like a major meltdown is considered a D1 crash out.
It's called
Division 1 crash out.
Division 1 crash out.
Interesting.
Yeah, D1 crash out.
I like it.
You'll watch the Lynx in Liberty tonight?
Probably. It's on, I think, is it on FanDuel? It's on NBA TV, I know that, but I think it's on FanDuel.
Well, you can listen to it on the fan and on the iHeartRadio app.
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
It's a visual sport.
Yeah.
With all due respect.
Yeah.
I'll probably catch at least, I'm making dinner at home, so I'll have it on.
What you making tonight?
Kebabs. Grilling kebabs. We made cod the last 2 nights in the oven. Yeah. Karen gets home a little later, so I'm going to put those...
Chicken or beef or both?
Chicken.
Chicken
kebabs with vegetables. I like
them.
They're really good.
Some peppers on it, some reds,
We've been getting a lot of corn on the cob lately. So
have you really?
Yeah, it's been really good.
Picking it yourself or getting it at the store?
No, getting it at the store. Well, she's got a whole field of it down in Westbrook, so we'll be going down there. It should be ready to go. But that's one of my first stops. I don't know what your stops are at the State Fair, but I always get turkey to go.
You do?
Yeah, almost always, yeah. When I'm walking through that area, because where you park, it's easy to go right past turkey to go. And then I'll get that, then I'll get a piece of, then I'll get a corn on the cob.
Okay.
Wash it down with a tall lemonade. Good to go.
How about a Mexican Coke?
I don't know if they're serving them out there. I'd rather have a lemonade. It quenches my thirst a lot more.
We already have 2 places delivering us food while you 2 are together.
Thank you.
Oh, we do?
Oh, yeah. Well.
Blue Barn.
Blue Barn will be a week from today, next Tuesday at 2:15.
Oh.
Yeah.
They've got a new, one of those new food items they want to reveal.
Oh, good.
Steph always does.
Yeah.
And then Thursday, and this Thursday at 2:15, I'm very thankful because it's literally one of my favorite places.
Thursday, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and they reached out to us.
Yeah.
And it's a West End Creamery. Ice cream, malts, shakes.
Oh, well, thanks for the tip. It's great. I'll save my appetite. Harley, wait.
Your favorite time of the year?
Groundhog Day is here.
Yep.
State Fair.
Your favorite time of the year.
Yep.
Maybe you can make a couple of guest appearances over at WCCO and stay till 10 o'clock.
That would be really special. Frank and Amelia would love that, except only one of them is out there during the night.
We'll see you tomorrow, 2 o'clock.
I will be here. Thank you, sir.
That'd be perfect. Tenby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
And you as well. I thought you really did a bang-up job, and we appreciate your efforts on behalf of the Grom. Thanks for visiting with us. Well, thanks for listening. We enjoyed visiting with you today. Back tomorrow, 12 noon. Stick around. Big ticket. JG, the Tasteless Box of Mashed Potatoes, just fresh back from parking over at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. They're next here on the Fan.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Minnesota!
Good night, folks, and Good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
I'm a fraud.
Yes.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
iHeart presents the Big Three Championship next Sunday, August 24th. The remaining two teams fight it out for the Big Three Championship Dr. J Trophy in the most physical, fierce, and competitive basketball league in the world. The action starts with the Big Three 8th Annual All-Star Game, featuring All-Stars Dwight Howard, Montrezl Harrell, MVP Michael Beasley, Lance Will Make You, Dan Stevenson, Jordan Crawford, Greg Monroe, Earl Clark, Nazir Kaur, and more show you why they are the best 3-on-3 basketball players in the world. Big Three's exciting All-Star Game plus the crowning of a new Big Three champion. The no-holds-barred action starts Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 Pacific, only on CBS.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.